Have you ever had this happen where you want a result in your life? You want to work out and you want to lose some weight, or you want to maybe make some money in an investment, or you want to hire somebody, you want to build your business, you want to open a business, you want to have your child join a soccer team or make the cheerleading team, whatever it is, you have a specific outcome. And that goal that you maybe rafted, R-A-F-T, that you had a result for, you had lots of reasons that you wanted it to occur. You took massive action, but then bam, at feedback, there was a little turn in the road. Something happened that derailed you. Can you think of something like that? Did that ever happen to you? Of course it did. It happens when? All the freaking time, pretty much. It rains when you don't expect it to. You miss your flight. You spill some food on your brand new shirt when you don't have time to change what you have to change. And you got to forge forward to get that result. Competition opens up when you didn't expect it. A problem with technology happens when you're in the middle of doing something. It pretty much happens all the time, where we are being tested by a lack of resources out there. There's not enough time, there's not enough money, there's not enough energy, there's not enough support, or there's too much competition, or there's too much work to be done, etc. And I wanted to offer a couple of, I guess you could call them beliefs, or maybe ways that I choose to look at the world that have allowed me to stay in a more momentous path with better energy and achieving a result with an emotional IQ, hopefully, emotional state that's higher than what I might have had I not approached at it this way. So you've probably heard this before, that there's not a lack of resources, there's a lack of what? Resourcefulness. So it's not that you can't, let's say you have a goal to work out, 5 days a week. And I remember when I joined Tony Robbins' Platinum Partners, we were cruising around on a boat in Italy, and we were going from city to city, and we would get to the port, and then we'd take a bus, and we'd go into Rome, or we'd go into, where's the Leaning Tower of Pisa, wherever that is. And we'd go to these different places, and I wanted to get a workout in, but there was no gym on this boat that we were on. It was a private boat, about 200 foot boat. So I remember learning from Tony that there is no lack of resources, just a lack of resourcefulness. So what I did was I started to, I went up onto the top deck and I did push-ups and I did some dips and I lifted the patio furniture. So in that case, I could have not gotten the workout that I wanted, or I could have become creative. So rule number 10 says that, make it happen no matter what, as long as you're committed and creative. So, by the way, good morning to everybody. There's a whole bunch of people on here. Sven, Mark, Regina, Carolyn, Robs, Ryan Snow, Matt Eng, Edna, Greg, good to see you, Chris, Britt, Joshua, Jenna, Ivan, good morning, Ivan, Melissa, Claudia. So good morning to all of you on this beautiful Wednesday morning. So just to continue is, I could have complained, I could have bitched, I could have not gotten the workout. Instead, I changed the vehicle to create the workout. I gave myself some new options. I looked for a way to make it happen. And rather than getting pissed off, I became excited to get the result that I wanted in spite of the circumstances. Does that make sense? You may have, I remember when I had an employee quit right in the middle of a crucial period of my production in real estate. And I was like, oh no, this is terrible. My brain raced off to, okay, so this person was really good. Now I have to hire somebody else. I've got to run ads. Back in the day when we actually ran ads. I'm gonna have to interview people. It's tedious. Then I got to train the person, and we're in the middle of the busy season. How much money is this going to cost me? Oh my God, no. And I worked myself into a tizzy because the way that the world was not cooperating with the picture I had. It was not making it easy for me to get the result that I want. Does that make sense? But I started to say, well, why would I allow the circumstances to cause me to become disempowered? And is it not true that you can really look at your life and you go, look, there's primarily two states you're in. One where you're empowered, or one where you're disempowered, or one where you're positive or negative, if you will, or one where you're moving forward or moving backwards. You could globally say that you're either being fueled by something or you've got fear, right? Or doubt or worry. So I decided in that moment that this was it. I'm done with the world changing the rules of the game, the circumstances, telling me that I'm fired, or that this bank doesn't want to do the deal, or all those things. And then letting it affect me emotionally. The emotional happiness or resourcefulness or empowered state belongs to you. And it's up to you to decide that you want to be creative in finding a new pathway to your objective or your goal by lifting patio furniture, or by reframing the feeling or the meaning of something that happens. So when I lost this employee, I decided that going forward, ever since then, that if I had a staff member that left the team for whatever reason, or needed to leave the team or wasn't working out, that there was a higher reason why that was happening, and that I was going to be accepting of that. If you've read The Surrender Experiment or Untethered Soul, you know what I'm talking about, is that everything happens for a reason. And when you resist it is when you create stress, is when you allow it that you create flow. So he who is most flexible wins is a really, really important premise for you to be able to have peace of mind and to be accepting of what's going on out there. And you may use a term that we use most of the ends of the videos and the Monday lessons is to course correct. As a pilot, as a captain of a ship, you are almost always being blown around by the crosswinds. And I know this is so cliche, but you're being blown around by those crosswinds. And it's up to you to course correct, to tack, to move in a direction that gets you back online. In life, you're going to be hit with crosswinds. You're going to have things that don't work out the way you want. You're going to have employees quit, and you're going to have competition step up. You're going to have your kid get sick at the wrong time. Are you going to allow it to affect your emotional state where you become pissed off, discouraged, upset? And by the way, often what happens is you take it out on the people around you. You get pissed off at the world, and then you get pissed off at those people that you love just because the stream didn't run straight. The stream doesn't run straight. It turns and bends and loops because nature's not meant to be a straight line. So I wanted to share with you this piece of he who is most flexible wins. Think of the outcome that you want, the result that you want. You want to build your business. You want to travel the world. You want to have your staff run the meetings without you there. You want your children to be able to get ready on their own. Every time you come up with a little bit of resistance, become creative. Put on your creativity hat and say, there's always a way when I'm committed and creative. There's always a way when I'm committed and creative. And when you communicate that way with yourself, it can become a fun game to look for the solution. When you're course correcting, you're almost saying that I'm never 100% on the right path. And therefore, I look for the solution, not the innate problem. In many cases, people have asked me, well, Rock, I think that decision's a mistake. And I said, you're probably right. And they go, well, why are you making that decision? I said, because it's the best decision I can make at this point with what I know and the circumstances I have. But I'm often off course. And then what do? I course correct. I make a new decision. I make a better decision. I make a decision from a new perspective, from a new point of view, from being a little further down the road with a little bit more knowledge. And often I look back and I go, you know, I should have known better. I could have known better. But that's easy to say. Oh yeah, you should have brought your raincoat and your umbrella. I should have known it was going to rain. You don't always know. You don't always have time. You don't always remember. But then you can find a garbage bag and you put it on and away you go. A lot of great ideas, by the way, were born out of circumstances that were unlucky or that weren't what people expected them to be. And then what happened is they end up coming up with some great invention. I think Post-it notes were supposed to be the version of crazy glue, and it turned out to be something that became something that you could obviously Post-it notes stick on and pull off. So sometimes when you go in one direction, there's a gift by something that happens in the other direction. Does that make sense? I think everybody can relate to that. So I'm not sure if I'm seeing any questions or comments here. Let me just take a peek. So the point that I want to share with you, and let me see, I wrote some notes here, is, this other thing that happened is, have you ever played a sport? And this comes from Roger Federer, where you play a sport and you get a bad call. Or if you're playing a friendly sport with a friend and the ball, you think it goes out, they think it's in, and you have a bit of a moment arguing that, and they end up winning the argument, let's say, and then you're like, man, I needed that point, damn it. And then you start to feel what? Unresourceful. You start to blame, you start to feel cheated, you start to feel things aren't going your way. Does that make sense? So the framing that Roger Federer uses is he goes, listen, sometimes the bounce is going to go for me, and sometimes it's going to go against me. Sometimes the referee is going to make a good call for me, and sometimes they might make a bad call. And if they make a bad call, and if the bounce goes against me, I'm so resourceful, I'm so good, I can still dominate and win the match, even if things don't go the way I want. And I freaking love that. That's like deciding up front that the outside circumstances are not going to dictate the result to you. So if somebody quits on you, leaves, gets transferred, joins the competition, you have a choice to own that like a winner or to own that like a whiner. And it's up to you and it's on you. Is it not true? I think it was at the last Super Bowl, for those of you that follow sports, Tom Brady lost one of his key receivers, I think in the second quarter, maybe even the first. Now in that case, he has a choice where he can whine and complain and get disappointed and say, now we're screwed. Or he can say, let's get creative. Let me work with what I want, what I have. One of the reasons I love the military as a training ground is that imagine that you are forging through as a unit toward taking over the hill, the region, whatever. And one of the ways you're going to do that is to get over this bridge, over through this river, and to the other side, and then, attack. But what happens if the bridge gets blown up? Do you go, oh, war's over, I guess we go home? Or does the general say, okay, let's get creative. Let's build a bridge. Let's wade through the water. Let's build rafts. They become creative and they become committed to achieve the same result because failure is not an option. And failure shouldn't be an option with any of us. Decide on your outcome. Build your raft, right? Decide the result that you are forging towards in whatever it is. And then with the right reasons, you can continue to dominate. And with the right perspectives, you can adjust accordingly as you get the feedback from the world. And then you celebrate on the other side victoriously. Does that make sense? So again, it's about course correction. It's about using everything that's out there. What else did I jot down here for you? It's about finding a way. And it's about believing that you can win. That makes sense? So I'm super glad to see so many of you out here this morning, and I'm seeing no comments, and I would like to see some comments. So let's see if I can refresh here. There we go. Decide on your outcome, decide the results, continue to dominate. Maurizio in the house. Failure is not an option, decide on the result to dominate. Every time something quits for us, we raise the bar for the next person. It's awesome when people quit. I'd rather that than stay in and not get excited. Hey, you guys are awesome. Great comments, guys. Thank you. Believing that you can win. Yes. Good. Nice picture of Jim Hughes here on the beach. It's funny. Here's an example of Facebook keeps on changing the algorithms and the way they do things. So now I'm looking here for comments, and it's really hard to see them for whatever reason. Believe in yourself, man. Course correct and belief. Yes. Course correction from Susan, from Robert. It's easier to give birth than to resurrect the dead, says Brad Johnson. Nice. I love the military example. So it becomes a mindset, right, guys? It becomes you committed to your result. It becomes you deciding what you want to achieve. It becomes you using everything. That happens. If you run out of a certain ingredient in the kitchen, have you ever had that where you had to add something else and it turned out really cool? Of course you have. That's how great recipes were created at times also. What about if you're the parent to a child? Or maybe you were a child at one point in time and you were sick. Did your parents give up on that and go, well, I tried 5 different things. I guess you just have to be sick for the rest of the week. You know? What about a child learning to walk? You crawled for 3, 4, 5 months and you didn't walk yet. Did your parents go, well, I guess you're just not going to be a walker, kid. Stay down there on the ground. No. They said, okay, try this, try that, walk this way, walk that way, see a specialist, etc., etc., etc. You see my point? The point being is that you get to decide the standards for your life. You get to decide whether things are going to disappoint you or not. You get to decide whether things are going to slow you down or whether you're going to utilize that as fuel to fire you the frick up. You get to decide all those things. If you're in a different time zone, is that going to stop you from doing what you want to do? If you're jet lagged, do you become unresourceful? If somebody pisses you off because they said something, looked at you a certain way, is that enough to take you out, or is that enough to get you curious and fired up? Does that make sense? There's so many great things that you can do in your life, so many ways that you can inspire others to be great leaders or to overcome the odds as well. By you choosing to have these kinds of attitudes, whoever is most flexible wins. Visualize with the results. It says, Yugang, we want, and it will happen the way we want it to. Many times it will, and I think you're thinking like a golf swing, but sometimes it doesn't, and when it doesn't, it's your response that determines the level of your success. For those of you doing marketing, this is true also. When you start it out, it won't work. You have to keep testing and trying and spending until it works. Good point, Chris. And that's what we call course correction. Rapid course correction. Take action, move in a direction, respond. Take action, move in a direction, respond. Take action, move in a direction, and respond. And yes, by the way, you are welcome to ask me any question here and see if I can answer it. Many of you don't know, I used to have a radio show called Rock Talk. How to be healthier, wealthier, and wiser. Problem may be too big for you, but it won't be too big for both of us. And for 7 months on Tuesday night from 8 until 10 o'clock every week on Tuesday night, I would take calls in like Dr. Phil and answer questions live on the radio. So kind of funny, but definitely did do that. So send in any questions you have about anything. Chris Crawford, that's me right now, trying until it works. Yay, go Maurizio, go. Okay, Facebook, you are now giving me the lack of an option, older, and lack of an option to see all the past comments, which is unusual. What about this? Hey, Rock, how about in that moment changing state in physiology? Yes. Yes. So you may want to have something that you do. So I remember when I lost my employees, I had developed this thing. I'd hear something, somebody would announce the news to me. Rather than initially, I think sometimes I did it right in their face. But I would go like, somebody would quit, and I'd go, yes! And people are like, excuse me? Why are you so happy that I'm quitting? But it was really a way of me conditioning myself to respond positively and to change my physiology and change my focus. Remember, often that when you change the way you move your body, that you change the way you feel. Try jumping up and down, and doing something like this and feeling really upset. So you change your physiology, you change your focus, change the way you feel. Change the way you feel, you become more resourceful, or you stay more positive. So that's it's a good technique for you to have something that you can do. And somebody said it the other day when I was playing Liar's Dice in Mexico, and then I lost the dice. I was like, yes! Like, I celebrate the curves in the road. I celebrate the obstacles. I celebrate the unexpected. I celebrate the fact that I might have to be creative. I'm here in Los Angeles and I ride my bike almost everywhere. You can see it in the background there. And often I'm coming along and there's a red light. So then I turn and I go down another road. I want to learn and investigate what's happening in the area. So rather than go, oh my God, I'm stuck at this red light, boom, new way to discover. And then see something different. So it's really a metaphor for how you're going to live your life. How flexible are you going to be in charging toward the things that you want? Or are you going to always go, oh, I can't believe it, man. Did the competition open up? I can't believe it. So-and-so quit. Oh, I can't believe it. The gym's closed. Oh, I can't believe it. They got shitty equipment. Oh, I can't believe it. My favorite coffee. Is that how you want to live your life? Or do you want to live your life from possibility? Do you want to live your life from creativity? Do you want to live your life from being the type of person that people are like, oh my God, that person has such great energy that they're attracted to your mission or your vision? Does that make sense? No competition when you live in abundance. That's right, Melissa. I've been against it in the past, but recently put the cart before the horse. I just got a good deal on furniture for my Airbnb. I found a rental, and I don't know what's going on, guys, but I got a challenge because these notes keep on scrolling down and then right off my screen, and then I can't see them anymore. So, sounds like you did some great stuff there, Britt, regarding your furniture. Britt, I'm so freaking excited for you, says Regina. I live my life from possibility and creativity. Maurizio, you are freaking awesome. Love it. Or just dominate, says Melissa. Oh, wait a minute. What if I do this here? Hold on. Does that work? No, that doesn't work either. Okay, so I'm going to apologize if I did not respond to your comments. And I remember that. You are awesome. Okay, looking at that. A whole bunch of people here. All right, we've got a couple of minutes left. So I hopefully, today's, I'm going to go in and answer these questions that you may have had. If you have any, at the end of this call, I'll type in the answers for you. If there's any I missed, you said no, yes, you quit. Yes, awesome. I'm about to grow. Okay, cool. So I wanted to leave you with that thought. I hope that this has been valuable for you. From a perspective of how you get to live your life emotionally. Can't tell you how many times that, you got questions for me? I'm getting some help here because I don't know why mine didn't show up. What do you got?
Just so you can see.
There you go. If there's anything that you can see there, you can read them to me. Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to leave you that perspective, is that you will always have obstacles. It's just the way life is designed. What state of mind are you going to choose to show up? How are you going to enjoy being creative and committed to navigating through the obstacles? And by the way, when you set big goals, you get big obstacles. You get lots of surprises. So you're going to have to be prepared.
Will?
Yeah?
Next question. Rock, how do you train this muscle in everyday activities to start embracing this behavior rather than getting wrapped up in each and every bad call? What are some ways I can start training today?
Awesome question, Will. So one of the things that I do, and I do this with my coaching clients, is I get them to do things. I talked about this with Matthew Eng the other day, is brush your teeth with your left hand. Look for ways that you can do things differently. Drive home differently. Walk sideways, skip. Do anything that starts to give you a new experience in ways that aren't going to freak you out. And then when the big, issues come along, that player goes down in the Super Bowl, that quarterback has a mindset of, I always find a way. So you really want to have that backed with an incantation or a belief, is that there's always a way as long as I'm committed and creative. You might want to say that 100 times a day. There's always a way when I'm committed and creative. And then wham, when something comes up, you exercise the muscle. You just keep on exercising the muscle. You go up and say, I'm out of, oh, sorry, we're out of your favorite coffee. Oh, great. What's the next one you can try? Awesome, I'll have a cup of tea. Instead of, oh no, but I really wanted it. Yeah, there's a lot of things we all want. But there's going to be a detour. You're going to course correct, and then you're going to course correct, and then you're going to course correct. And then when you've course corrected, you're probably going to course correct again. The question is, how excited are you going to be about those shifts along the way? It's a muscle like anything else. Anything else? No? We're good to go? All right. So this has been your Rise with Rock. He who is most wins. He who is most flexible wins. I hope that that's been valuable for you. Have an amazing day. Show up like a champion in your life, as a mother or a father, as a son or a daughter, as a friend or as a brother or as a sister, and give it 100% and course correct. Grab life big. Love you guys.